Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. I recently joined as a member, and you can too. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with the advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co.
And please put unprofessional development in the "How did you hear about Podgo?" That will give us a little finder's fee. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very calming episode of Unprofessional Development. I'm Tudisco.
And I'm Mealey. How you doing? It's just us. Ain't no one else here. Just us chickens, as the joke goes. That's referencing something. No one here but us chickens. What's that? I don't know where that reference is from, but I've heard it before.
Chickens.
Yes.
Definitely heard at least once on Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Yes. And not on one of the episodes that has to come with like a warning label.
A warning, because we're going to have firearms and racist and transphobic themes in our show.
Yeah.
The 40s.
You know, that sort of fun children's show. How have you been, Mealey? I feel like it's been a while since we talked.
It's been a long time. The last time we were podcasting, I had a Vertigo episode as we were coming to a conclusion, and I haven't listened to that episode. Did you reference the Vertigo at all? Does anyone know that listened to the episode that it happened, or did you kind of edit it away?
Just stop talking, and then I wrap up the episode.
Nice.
I wasn't sure if you wanted me to just put it out there.
Well, now it's out there.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you noticed Mealey inexplicably missing.
Yes, that's what happened. I had a Vertigo episode, and since then I've had another needle in my ear. I'm getting an MRI and possibly having the hairs burned off the interior of my ear canal so that I won't fall down anymore. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like getting waxed, only not exactly. Oh, I did learn something. For those of you who want to know about Meniere's disease, which is what I have, which sounds way more serious than it is. When I was talking to my doctor, because whenever you have a disease that has a name, it sounds like, oh my God, you're probably going to die in 6 months. I'm not.
Right. That's why you hope it's named after a doctor, not after a sports player. Because if it's named after an athlete, then you're dead.
Then you're done. Well, no, you can have Tommy John surgery, and then you just can't play football very good anymore.
Yeah, but that's a surgery, not a disease.
That's true. So anyway, the cool thing is that they always just think you have Meniere's disease. The only way they can conclusively prove that you have Meniere's disease is via an autopsy.
Which you have not gotten yet.
I haven't gotten yet. Our insurance doesn't cover autopsies. But
it should, I think.
Yeah, I want one. But apparently, so when people die, which happens, I'm sorry to tell you, when people go to the teacher farm in the sky.
We've already mentioned racism, transphobia, and death.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome to a comedy podcast.
Yeah, and this is a very calming episode, you said, right? Hashtag trigger alert.
All right, so anyway, I'm sorry.
Yes, do we want to discuss traumas and PTSD? Let's throw that in there. Okay. Anyway, so apparently when people die, they cut open their head and they go, "Ooh, look at that. That's what Meniere's disease looks like." And then they go, "What were their symptoms before they died?" And they go, "Hey, you have the same symptoms as this person. We can't do a blood test. We can't, an MRI won't do it. An X-ray, nothing will tell us that you technically have it other than we go, well, you were here on the 14th and you did this and you did, my hearing loss and I have vertigo attacks and I don't have migraines." Those are apparently those are some really big clues.
A totally new disease that they're going to start calling the Mealey.
There could be. Yes.
You got the Mealies.
Yes. And once we eliminate the brain tumor, okay, which.
Right.
So then, because it could be a brain tumor.
So for those of you keeping score at home, we got racism, transphobia, death, and tumors.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. Wow. Yep. Definitely in summer mode.
So happy summer, boys and girls. Hope you're doing well. I assume by the time this releases, I would hope almost everyone is out of school. I know there's still some schools up in the north that are still having classes now, and I feel sad for them because we've been out for multiple weeks now. It seems like longer because one of us has been to Hawaii already. Hashtag not me.
Brag.
Yes. Yeah. Who always complains that teachers don't make enough. And then he goes to Hawaii. Yes. On a private jet, I believe. Did you take a private jet?
Oh, yeah. No.
No.
So I did want to heckle first class when I was walking. I'm glad I didn't. I was very cranky. The trip back took like literally about 24 hours of travel.
Oh, God.
Especially with like the time loss.
Yeah.
So even if you're just traveling like, 18 hours, that's a whole day.
Yeah.
So,
and then you get here and it's another time and the sun's in a different place and it's very confusing.
And we had 3 planes on the way back. So the second plane I got on and like, we're stuck in line. I don't know what was happening. I think somebody up front was either trying to put a bag away or make a test move. But either way, they were struggling.
Okay.
And so I'm just standing there just watching first class, which of course gets sat first.
Okay, yes. They paid the money.
Right. I want to tell them, like, so do you guys like sitting first and then watching the parade of poor people come through? Like, I would. I'd throw pennies at us.
Well, they should.
We fought over it.
I can't believe you're allowed to walk through where they sit. You should have your own domestic entrance for like the servants do in Downton Abbey.
Yes, we need a servants' quarters. Yes, you walk in and it's just Irishmen playing fiddle like in Titanic.
It could be. That's
probably not the right thing to reference going onto an airplane, though.
Yes. So instead of flying from Hawaii to the mainland and then mainland to home, you had to stop in another one of the fair cities in the United States?
Yes, on the way there, we stopped in Austin first, which is a gigantic airport, which I know because we had to run to the other side of it.
That's always cool.
And then we stopped off in Honolulu, and then landed in Hilo.
Oh, so you had 2 planes in Hawaii.
Yeah, on the way there. On the way back...
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had to like stop in like Chicago or St. Louis or Atlanta or something like that.
On the way back, we stopped off at Seattle and then Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
It wasn't terrible. It was just...
Did you get some rain and coffee while you were in Seattle or no?
We were in there for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
So
no.
Just enough time to run across the airport and go, why is it so large?
Okay. You didn't buy any flannel and...
I did invest in a tech firm.
That's good. That's smart. Yeah, good startup. I love a good startup.
Absolutely. Very, very green.
Okay, cool.
They sell reusable kittens.
That's fantastic. I'll Bitcoin you some Bitcoin to become a partner. Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a verb as well, or you can Bitcoin something, right?
Shakespeare said everything's a verb. So
did Shakespeare actually say that?
I mean, no, but he verbed all of this stuff.
Okay, it is a fun habit of mine to turn nouns into verbs. I love.
I do it all the time in English. It's a wonderful thing to do.
It is.
It's built into the language anyway.
Yeah, I was pizzaing last night. It was fantastic.
I mean, people talk about tabling emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You could talk about timing a run. Like that's verbing a noun.
Yes, it is. Okay. So
all right, enough of this.
Let's get on our agenda here.
The education.
Yes.
What the people come here for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mealey. So it is summer.
Yes.
As a teacher, what do you do during the summer? I know the criticism is always teachers get 2 months off, and I'd like to tell those critics out there that for me, that's 100% true. No, I ain't doing a thing.
Yeah, me as well. I've done summer school, but this time it is. I know some teachers like, oh, we don't get summers off. I go to conferences and I write curriculum, and it's like, no, you have
work on all of my lessons over the summer. You
have a 10-month contract. Okay. Now, yes, there are teachers who, because of how they have chosen to live, are lifeguards and work at amusement parks and do lots of those are 2 big ones I know, and do
waiting tables and bartending.
Right. And do those kinds of things to do that.
Work, yeah.
Right. So they do that. And some people, it's not a choice that they've made, that they've kind of like ended up that way or whatever. But for some people, it's like, oh, I want to have this kind of car and this kind of house. Well, guess what? It costs this much and you make that much. So
yes. If you want to go to Hawaii, you have to teach summer school a couple of summers.
I mean, I argue with someone. I said, look, well, teachers don't. I said, you can't argue both ways that teachers don't have summers off and they don't make enough money. I'm like, you have to take that 10 months and now extrapolate it to like a 12-month salary. If you work 12 months, how much more would you make? And when I did the math, and you can go through my timeline and find the tweaks, I can't remember it. But basically, the average teacher salary and the average bachelor's salary, if once you extrapolate it out to 12 months, the difference is negligible. So
interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So we just have 2 months unemployed, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Basically. We work 10 months out of the year. So, and not saying that there aren't some of you out there who are doing stuff, but you don't have to. Okay.
Right. We have the option.
Right.
Which is not, a lot of jobs don't have that.
No.
You can't be a car salesman and be like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it this August.
Right. I'm going to take 2 months off and then go, but I went to a lot of car salesman conferences and, I worked on my pitch for when, trade-ins or whatever they do. Yeah. So, but a lot of teachers do have fun stuff going in the summer, but this summer I bought a house 2 years ago. And at that point I had a ton of stuff I was doing all over the summer. So lots of painting. And
I didn't know you'd only been there for 2 years. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We lived the other house for 17 years. So,
oh, wow.
I know, a long time. Oof, not to get, speaking of economic challenges, we refinanced, literally like a month before the housing price crash. So like they said, oh, your house is worth this much. And we refinanced. And then literally a month later, it was worth like 15 to 20% less. So yeah. So even though we wanted to move, it was like, well, we have to like wait for the house to go up and us to make some payments to get closer to where we could, actually have enough money from the sale to, buy
you want
a
to
new
feel
house.
old?
Sure.
When you bought your house, I was still in high school.
Nice. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's cool. That's and I was old already when I bought the house.
I know you guys can't see it, but Mealey just grew a beard.
Yes.
Like just instantly aged from that comment.
And I have a cane.
But he's dancing with it like Dick Van Dyke.
Am I? Like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Where's he? That's an umbrella, isn't it? No, it's a chimney sweep.
In the new one.
Oh, I forgot he's in the new one.
He's in the new one.
Who watched the new one?
I do.
Was it any good?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, was it any good?
Yeah, it had its moments. Okay. It was entertaining. I like it.
So if the old one is...
the old one's perfect.
So the old one's a 10, the new one is a...
7.
7. Okay. So watchable.
Watchable. Very watchable.
Okay. I won't.
The parts of it are better than the whole. Anyway.
Okay.
Where were we? Summer. What do you do?
Yeah, so
you got your new house.
So we've been in the house 2 years. So since we've been here, I've painted 80% of the rooms and also painted both my upper and lower kitchen cabinets, replaced the hardware on the kitchen cabinets. I have retiled the bathroom and painted the cabinets in my master bathroom. I have done a really cool ombre blue stuff with my daughter's room and a feature wall with all these little tree slices. Like if you take a stump and you cut it into slices and made like this big
that's cool.
circly thing. Yeah, in my son's room. So I've got to replace. Do you know what the quarter round is in your house?
No.
So
was that one of the Goonies?
Yes, I love quarter round. No, that's you're thinking of the second Indiana Jones with short round. Yes.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Though he was in the Goonies, I think, right? And then his career just since then he's
really took off.
I think he's got 3 Oscars.
Everywhere that somebody from the second Indiana Jones and the Goonies should have gone.
Yeah, he's pretty much got I think 3 Oscar nominations and a Tony. But anyway. No, the quarter round at where your baseboard meets the floor, there is a little rounded thing that basically if you took a sphere and cut it into quarters, it fits there to kind of make it a finished edge. So one slice of one part of it goes on the floor, one part of it touches the wall to kind of make it look nice. Well, in our house, the previous owner had a little dog that chewed up all the quarter round all over the first floor. So I'll be replacing that. But I've done that before in our old house when we bought it, and it's a really easy thing to do. So, but just something that it would be like a day. But one of those things that you don't get around to when you're such a busy teacher podcaster that I am. What about you? You got anything lined up other than your trip to Hawaii?
Well, I have an apartment, so I'm going to say I painted 0% of the walls.
Yes.
And done nothing with the cabinets or tiles.
No.
Because that's somebody else's job.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely need some kind of projects. I will go nuts.
Okay.
It drives my fiance crazy. Like even spring break, by the end of it, I'm like itching to go back. So usually I do teach summer school, and I still might pick up a summer job, but otherwise, no, usually I just try to dive into my hobbies.
Okay.
Over the summer.
And those would be?
Writing. I like to write.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're going to write that book for, what's her name?
From professional development.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Who was it who was talking about that?
Joyce Matthews.
Joyce Matthews. Yes. She told me to.
Yeah. Andro GG.
Yes. So, then again, she also told me I should learn the rules to cricket, so I'm not going to listen to her.
Okay. What about gardening? Do you have any plants or like flowers or tomatoes or peppers that you can grow out on like a balcony or something like that?
No.
But you bake though, right? Don't you bake?
I do like to bake. That's true. I'll probably bake some new recipes over the summer.
Okay.
So I did make a really good 3-berry pie.
What are the 3 berries?
Strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries.
Okay, cool. All right.
So, yeah. I think I might take it easy. Usually I work, but with the vacation, I think I'm going to take it easier this summer, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, I've definitely seen, I don't know the numbers, but I've definitely seen indications that a lot of teachers are taking this summer.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
After that last school year.
Yes. They were literally standing on like the steps of like, not literally, they were figuratively standing, even though according to Webster's now literally can be used as figuratively. I don't know if you know that. They were
literally figuratively.
Yes, but they were figuratively standing on the in the parking lot, waving like wads of Breaking Bad size cash. Could you please teach summer school? We've got this much cash for you if you will just like work a couple weeks this year. Like, and I'm like, no, go away. Like, I want to be able to make it through a whole 10 months when I get back, and I need some time away from this before I start again. So I want to be good for the kids that, see there. And honestly, if I was in charge, I would just allow them to make kids go to summer school and say, no, just let them relax.
No, but there's such a demand this year because so many parents are so worried that their kids are behind. My kid is behind.
Yes, he's not behind.
Behind who?
Right. They know
the whole world went through this.
They remember more about 4th grade than you do. Okay, so.
Have you seen Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader?
Yes, yeah. So they will be fine. But it will be fun to teach those kids now when they come back, particularly in math, that have now been through 2 levels of math in COVID, and they've only whatever. So basically, I'm going to just teach them what they should have learned 2 years ago. Like that's all. That's all.
I'll say like I know the scores like slid back right over COVID for a number of reasons.
Isn't that awesome? Because now next year we can have so much growth.
That's true. But I know in my heart of hearts, math got it worse than reading. And I know that just from watching my stepson, because they'll look at the math problem and go, I don't need to show my work. And they just, if there's not that accountability, they don't. And then they make the silly arithmetic issues and problems. And then they feel like they don't understand it.
Yeah. So it'll be what it'll be. Yeah. I'm not concerned about it at all. So, yes.
You know what's the bottom line? They'll learn it. If they need to learn it,
they'll learn it. And if they don't learn it now, they'll learn it later. 99% of what you learned on your job is not something that you learned in elementary, middle, high school, or college. It's something you learned on the job. So,
we're not even supposed to be teaching them content. Like, not really. We need to teach them how to learn.
Right.
How do you take in information and then apply it?
Right.
Who cares?
Right. Yes. Yeah. How do you figure things out? So anyway, and we did plant flowers and made a nice little garden in our backyard by the porch. So it's looking good. Yes. So the other fun part about that is, and I really need a video at some time. My dog is insane, and she wants to jump.
I can vouch for that statement.
She wants to jump in the flower bed and bite the water while you're watering while it's coming out of the hose. So she's literally attacking the water. So you have to like squirt the water out into the yard and send her chasing it, and then squirt the flowers. And then as she comes back, go back and keep on playing this like little game, or you have to barricade her inside the house so that she can't get out there and attack the water.
She's trying to defend the flowers
against the water.
Dangerous water.
She just wants to bite the water. I don't know.
Are you implying that her actions don't really have logic behind them?
I mean, I guess she wants a drink. I don't know what she's thinking, honestly. So, yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, so that's, and then obviously, and I guess we can jump around, but obviously the big project for our summer is Edupodlooza, at least until, 10 days from now, that we're based on this recording date, but, less than that if you're listening to this. So that has been a lot of, plate spinning. And so, in fact, as Tudisco, this is our first real conversation since you got back from Hawaii. So I have got StreamYard. And so I've been playing with that a little bit, and we'll have to figure out that.
Awesome.
Now we'll have to figure out another time to rehearse the audio drama.
Mm-hmm.
The submissions for the poetry slam have been really slim. I'm a little concerned about that. So you may have to come up with a poem, and I may have to come up with a poem.
I have a bunch of poems.
Okay. Are they education-y? Yes. They don't have to, are they? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Oh.
Actually, fun side story for the people listening. There was a year when I had to, over administering finals, starting to lose my mind. So I started to just write poetry just to pass time because they last forever.
Yes.
And I wound up writing this one poem, and it was pretty long. It went on for like, I don't know, 2-3 pages.
Okay.
And Mealey came to my classroom at the end of the day, and I showed him, like, look, I wrote this poem. Mealey's like, oh, cool. He glanced at the page, and he goes, I don't need to read all this, and hands it back to me.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
Well, yeah, you just proctored an exam. You didn't have any brain
cells. Yes. I didn't want to read anything. No. No.
I do not blame you.
Oh, man. No. Oh, that reminds me. One of the poems that I wrote. So, as a freshman in English, when do you read Homer's The Odyssey?
A lot of times, yeah, 8th, 9th grade.
Okay. So, I think it was 9th grade. And I wish I had a copy to tell if it was any good or not. So we had to write, like our assignment was, write another chapter of The Odyssey. Right? Or just write some kind of, whatever it was.
Odysseus makes a cheeseburger.
So, right, you know what I mean? So, The Odyssey, when it was originally, was oral, but it was, my understanding, it was rhyming couplets, yes?
I don't remember, but sure, that sounds right.
Let's assume it was. Because that was my impression I was under.
Gotcha.
So I turned in the entire 2-page thing as a 9th grader in straight up rhyming couplets.
Wow.
And got a C.
What?
I know. I'm like, I know no one else turned in rhyming couplets. I've been telling the other people, no one's done that. You know? I'm like, how does this not like...
That's amazing.
Right. Yes.
There are definitely times my students have turned in the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I've seen how much effort they put into it and how much work they showed. And I'm like, you just get 100. Let's not nitpick about it. The rubric is there, so I have something to fall back on if I
right.
Can. But right. I can still pass you if you don't follow it.
Yeah.
Wait, why are we making a podcast again?
Because we like to watch movies and yell about them.
They yell about directors, yell about the plot, yell about the acting, but they also talk a lot. But mostly Josh and Cassie yell about the movies.
Hey everybody, I'm Cassie.
And I'm Josh.
And we are the hosts of the brand new podcast, Josh and Cassie Yell About Movies.
Each week we're breaking down a different film and sharing our unique perspectives and holding nothing back.
And fair warning, this is a spoiler-heavy podcast, so yeah, just be aware of that, please.
Do we make jokes, or is there anything else?
Gosh, I hope so. I have fun laughing at you.
Well, thanks. And we yell about movies, is that right?
That's right. We upload new episodes on Tuesdays, so hopefully we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening.
Alrighty, so next topic. So we already kind of talked about finals a little bit. do you want to talk about what we love and what we hate about finals?
Yes, I do.
It's a double-edged sword. The beauty of it is, once finals start, that's it. Okay.
It's that moment when you're on the roller coaster and the seat comes down and you're locked in.
Yeah. And so the kids have to take these tests. How they're going to do on them is how they're going to do on them. Legally, I can't say boo to them. You know what I mean? What do you think? What's going to be on it? Just go away from me. I don't want to go to teacher jail or to real jail because I said anything sideways about final exams. Okay? Mm-hmm. By the way, teachers, if you're one of these out there that cares so much about your final exam scores that you're willing to do something even slightly shady, stop it. It's not worth it. Don't care about those scores enough to do stuff that, looking too closely over their shoulder, scribbling notes about what's on the test, discussing it with the students after the test, all these things that nobody ever does, right? You know what I mean? Right. Nobody ever done it.
Ever looks at what's on the state test and then plans it into their curriculum.
And I don't know anyone who I've never seen anyone actually literally writing down the numbers of the questions and the words to the question, because if I did, I would be obligated to report them. So I haven't seen that. But oh my goodness, stop it. Because
it's not a big deal.
It is
we push it out to be a big deal to the kids because otherwise they won't take it seriously. But genuinely, what's going to happen?
Yeah. And so here's my argument, because I've had this for a while. I was in the camp of, if I could just, we only get so much for math. We only get so much information about what's on the test. And so it's very vague and it's all this other kind of stuff. And so the argument that would always take place and the discussion take place, well, if I just knew what was on the test, then I could prepare the kids better. And my rebuttal to that has been and is, hey, the last unit test that you gave the kids, did you know what was on it? How'd the kids do?
Oh, not great? Oh.
What? But you actually knew all of the questions ahead of time. You actually wrote them. And you were trying to prepare them, and yet still kids struggled somehow. What? So if you even knew everything that was on the exam, and I'm short of having them memorize the letters like A, B, B, C, B, short of that, you knowing the exact kind of questions that are on the test does not necessarily mean that the kids are going to get it and be able to do it. You know? Right. Not saying that there aren't teachers who can do that and have assessments where the kids always do well, but my experience is most teachers spend more time upset about scores on the assessments more than they are my kids did so awesome on this assessment.
Right.
That the conversation, I can't believe how poorly the kids did on this assessment, happens way more often, even when the teachers create the assessment and have actually used the same assessment for multiple years and know what's on it. So just because you don't know what's on the final, that's not the reason the kids struggle on the final. The reason is because kids struggle with assessments.
Yeah. Which is why the finals are always curved ridiculously.
Yes.
I will also say it also drives me nuts when I see teachers spending way too long on practicing for the final.
Mm-hmm.
Spending the last month.
Oh, it's torture for everybody.
I've also I've read a study, and it's been a while, and I don't know what other new studies have come out since. I did read a study once that said any more than 3 days of test prep shows no difference in students.
Wow, I would love to see that study. That's interesting.
Yeah, seriously. But if you think about it, you know which students I've seen do the least amount of multiple choice tests in a year? The homeschooled students.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who scored highest on the test?
Yes.
The homeschooled student.
Yes. Yeah. That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
That to me is more tied to class size than anything else.
But it does kind of show that you don't miss a whole ton by not doing multiple choice test prep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just miserable.
So, but like I said, the good part, in my opinion, is that once the finals start, my job, other than making sure someone doesn't cheat on the final, which isn't too hard to do, is essentially done.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to enter grades, nothing else. The kids walk in the room,
in front of a classroom, and have a pulse.
Right. Yes. And I generally give this speech before we get to the reading the Lin-Manuel, Miranda, as I call it. But,
the test manual?
The test manual, yes.
The test Lin-Manuel?
Test Lin-Manuel. Miranda rights.
Lord.
But, you have and they have the right to remain silent. Okay. Anything you say during the test will be held against you. So, look at that. Look, I'm a comic genius. But anyway, no, I tell them that if somebody does something stupid during the test that causes us to have an issue, there's a day which you don't have to come to school, which now you will have to come to school and take this test over again. I said, and I'm not encouraging any kind of bullying or violence or anything like that, but it's not unusual to think that the kid who was the actual issue might get a little
comeuppance.
Yeah, a little comeuppance, out in the hallway or the parking lot in the bus lot because he was the one that couldn't keep his mouth shut for a couple hours, or she, So it's going to be boring. It's going to suck. When we're done, you just be quiet until I say you don't have to be quiet anymore. And that's all you have to do. Sorry. That's the name of the game. And that normally, and 99 times out of 100, they do. So.
I also point out to them that boredom is a skill and they all need to practice.
Oh, that's, God. How does that go over?
I mean, it's just honest. Like, you have to learn how to be bored.
Yes.
That's part of life. If you don't know how to be bored, what are you going to do at the DMV? Like,
yes. Yeah. The only issue is that we now have these, handheld computers that back in the day that we didn't. So that in the DMV, you can play Candy Crush or, watch TikTok videos or whatever it is that entertains you on the screen. But I
also tell them that boredom is not lethal, though it sometimes feels such.
Yeah.
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 All right. Do you have any? All right. I'll start. A couple funny final stories.
Okay. Cool.
So, we'll start with this one. So I was once, monitoring a final in another teacher's classroom. So they were actually like the proctor. I was, what do they call them?
No, they were the administrator. You were the proctor.
They were the thank you. That's the terminology. Summer.
It may vary by state.
Administrator. And so it was a ninth grade social studies, class, which I feel bad for world history teachers more than anybody on their finals. Because in their final exams, they can ask the kids about anything from Mesopotamia to World War II. Like, talk about not knowing what's on your test.
Maybe the Cold War.
There you go. Does it really go? I don't know. Anyway.
I think so. I think they try to get to the Cold War. Yeah. Which is like 40 years ago now, by the way.
Right. So, like, literally on, like, one of those tests, like, the final was on, like, the Dust Bowl. Like.
I love the Dust Bowl.
Are you going to prep your kids that? No. Like,
you might want to know about the Dust Bowl. Okay.
Nobody wants to know about the Dust Bowl unless you're reading Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
So anyway.
Grapes of Wrath? Grapes of Wrath, the Dust Bowl?
I don't even know if that was the same time as the Dust Bowl. No, the Dust Bowl was before. Doesn't matter. So I'm during this exam. Right? And the guy has clocks set up in the back of his room to show the different times at different places around the world. I'm like, oh, that's cool. There's a clock for Moscow, and there's a clock for Japan, and there's a clock for New York and California and all this stuff.
Yes. Oh, cool.
And then the test starts, and, everybody gets silent and starts taking their test, and I'm sitting there waiting, and I hear all 5 clocks ticking. Tick, 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 for hours.
Oh my, you're in some kind of thriller horror movie now.
Oh, I called up Guantanamo when I left, and I'm like, guys, I have an idea for you.
Yeah.
You need some guys to answer some questions.
Because they weren't perfectly in sync, I assume.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Oof. That was a rough one to get through. Do you have any funny final stories?
Well, this happened it was my first year teaching, and we were giving a teacher-made final for my class that time, which was very nice, because you didn't have to worry.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Whatever the grade is, I put the grade in, and, there's no proctor, there's no accountability. I'm grading it. No one's seeing it but me. It's, no other teacher's even seeing it. Whatever grades happen. Yeah. And it was maybe so there's like a 4-hour test window generally, maybe a little bit longer, but, so we are about 3 hours into the test window, to which 80% of people have finished their tests.
Right.
And the fire alarm went off.
Oh no.
Yes. Okay. And my buddy, who was a first year teacher, they were not done the final.
No.
So he didn't know what to do. He's trying to corral the kids. And I mean, after that, the testing person at our school would mention that, and she still mentions it, 10 years down the line, as to here's what you do is you tell all of your kids they cannot speak to one another and they have to stay where you can see them, because fire drills in general, the kids, they scatter. You might keep a group of bunch and you try and get them back together and all this kind of thing, but you're going to have no idea if anyone said, hey, how do you find B and Y equals MX plus B while they were, walking down the hallways and all of that. And all the teachers are all discombobulated. We're all looking at each other. Oh my God, this is going to be what are we doing? This has never happened before. So we're just as lost as the, as the students. So they had to gather the evidence and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there was, so they went back in and cranked it up and started finish up the test, but they had to go beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't even know if they had to come back in and take a test again or not. I just remember that was the first day of testing, and there was a lot of panic and emails and discussions as to determining, and calling the state and determining.
That wasn't a planned fire drill. So that means somebody pulled the fire alarm.
Or in old school, we have electrical things that go wrong, or
that's possible.
I've seen it where someone just burned popcorn and it went off or whatever. So, something the desk gets in a vent and turns off a sensor or whatever. But anyway, I actually don't remember the end game of that, but that was, oof.
Lord.
Yeah. So from then on, we knew okay, before you even let them out the door, let them know that we are staying tight. And I've never had it again, but the plan would be, we're going to stay tight. I need to see all of you. If I don't see all of you, if I see any of you talking, again, you're going to be coming back and having to retake the test. So if you don't want that to happen, then let's just be quiet till, we get back in here and start back up again.
Man.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
And that was probably back in the days of the paper test too, right?
Yes, it was. It was a paper test. Yeah. So,
I'm glad I didn't have to go through that panic attack.
Yes. And, I did catch a kid with, a whole mess of paper that they had, basically the study guide for that we had gone over prior to the test, tucked in their shorts and trying to pull it out down the leg and look at it and all this stuff, and just, complete nonsense. And
that's the worst place to hide it.
Yeah.
That does make it is good that we do finals in the summertime though, because that way if a kid comes in with the big baggy jacket, you know why.
Right. I mean,
that's funny.
And I don't think it's impossible to cheat on the final, not the whole thing, but I think you can, if you're willing to not bring the phone out till you get on the bus. Mm-hmm. Have the phone somewhere on your person and say you don't have a phone. You can't bring it out later and then the test is over, so I'm taking, it's no. You had the phone on your person, go down to the office, they're going to look at the phone, you know? But you could have the phone on your person in a pocket, underneath a sweatshirt or whatever. And then you ask her to the bathroom and you Google 3 or 4 things and go back in, and now you can get those 3 or 4 right. You could probably only go to the bathroom twice, but I think you could possibly get away with that. But,
yeah, what is that? 5 questions?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another kid, I had to kick him out too. I'm like, why are you completely ridiculous? He had his, iPad. And he had so not only does his iPad, he plugs in his headphones to his iPad. And then has the iPad under his desk. As if I'm going to
during the test?
No, afterwards. But while other kids were still taking the test.
Oh, right, because he can't have his tech on him.
Prior to him being allowed to have it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, he's like, well, just listen to music. I'm like, really? And I'm like, he's trying, the kids, when they get caught, they lose all reason, you know? Like, I see him with the headphones.
It's not
I'm like,
the argument. It's not about logic anymore.
right. He's like, no, there's like nothing. Like, he's acting if there's like, he's got his coat on the iPad and the iPad on the, the coat, iPad are on the desk, and he's like leaning on that like it's a pillow, but he's got headphones on.
Sly. Fool.
And he's like, no. I'm like, let's lift up your arms. He's like, nothing's under there. I'm like, he's like, nothing under there. I'm like, he like pulls out, he pulls it out. He's like, look, see, it's not connected to anything, to the headphones. I'm like, really? I'm like, I know.
Nobody just puts in headphones for the comfort of shoving something into their ear.
Right. So
Weak backpedal.
Yeah.
I did have one student who came in the day of the final. He's a middle schooler and really well behaved, sweet kid. He came in and he said, "Hey, Mr. Tudisco, could talk to you outside?" It was like right before I give out the test. I'm like, "Sure."
Right.
So we step out in the hall. He's like, I grabbed my brother's backpack instead of mine. I'm like, okay. And he goes, and it had this in it. And he pulls out like a bowl reeking of weed.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh.
Not a cereal bowl.
No, a smoking bowl.
Yes.
Okay. I need to call some people.
Oh my God.
I played the test for a little bit.
Oh
and that poor
God.
kid, like, the school kid, he didn't get in trouble. But, oh man, he got his butt whooped when he went home by his brother.
I bet.
Oh, and I did have, oh God, this kid. So my first year teaching, I just had a really challenging group of students.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the veteran teachers on my team were struggling to get these kids under any level of control.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some strong personalities.
There you go.
So we had, the proctor came in for me the first day of the test. He comes in, a very old gentleman, walks in the door, and a kid in the front row goes, "Oh my God, he's going to die."
Nice.
Uh,
Would have been more fun is for you to grab his wrist and put your fingers on it and just take his pulse and go, "No, not right now." So this didn't happen to me, but I know it did happen also during a test. It was about the same time. It was about at my first or second year that someone vomited during the test.
Ooh, I've heard of that happening before too. Yeah.
And what did that, for many people, seeing someone else vomit, what does that trigger?
Oh no.
So it was like
the worst game of mousetrap ever.
It was, yeah, it didn't quite get into become what is it? I get Stand By Me and Lean On Me confused, but, I know one
definitely shouldn't.
There's completely different movies, but the Stephen King one, that's Stand By Me, right?
Stand By Me.
Lean On Me is that Morgan Freeman?
Samuel L. Jackson?
No, it's Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. And based on the true story of Joe Clark. Look at that. Pulled that
Never
one out.
saw it.
No? Oh, it's good.
No.
It's good. Okay. And probably a lot of our listeners have seen that one. But Stand By Me, you're more familiar with the pie eating scene.
It's been years since I've seen Stand By Me.
Yes. Do you remember the pie eating scene?
No.
Oh. So Stephen King makes certain movies that are just blatantly Stephen King. Okay?
Right.
Children of the Corn, Christine, Carrie.
Yep.
Right. You know what I mean? And then he has some movies that I didn't realize that was Stephen King, other than some like the Green Mile.
Green Mile, Road to Perdition.
Right. Shawshank
Redemption.
But so definitely in Green Mile, there is some really crazy stuff when it comes to the electrocution and not putting the thing on his head and all that kind of stuff. And then to get really gross, it's like 90% regular. And then this other, just supernatural stuff. You can't not have it in there.
Right. Yeah.
And, so in Stand By Me, the kid who I think is basically Stephen King, based on him, he's like, "Oh, tell us a story." When they're camping out and he tells a story of the big fat guy eating, it was getting bullied. And he starts eating the blueberry pies and then he eats until he vomits. And then the entire, town at the thing starts vomiting.
Oh, yes. And he's like sitting back and like just smirking and really proud of himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going. I was hoping I would take you there in less than like 10 minutes, but it does. People hear the sound or see it, and I
just
can't remember.
Talking about it's going to set off somebody. We apologize for ruining your drive.
Yes, it's been a while since we gave a lot of trigger alerts in the beginning, so now we're going to have this one as well. But anyway, so I don't remember if it was 2 or maybe even 3 people that ended up, having some kind of vomit domino effect going on in the final exam. So that's always fun.
Sunday. June 27th, join us for Edupodlooza.
There will be over a dozen Edupodcasters.
Listen for some rhythm and rhyme.
That's a poetry slam, boys and girls.
Roundtable discussion.
Just some teachers talking about teaching and laughing and having a good time.
Role-playing games.
Oh, yeah, for you nerds out there, you're going to like that stuff.
Radio drama.
Dum 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 dum.
And really funny people.
At least really funny looking, if nothing else. 1 to 9 on June 27th, Eastern Standard Time. We'll be live streaming. There'll be links. We'll put it on the Twitter. We'll make sure that you know where it is. Follow us at Unprocast if you're not already, because that's probably going to be the easiest way to know when it's going live.
June 27th. Free up your calendar now.
Thank you.
All right, for our final thoughts, do you want to wrap up by just talking about some Edupodlooza stuff? What are you excited about?
Oh my goodness.
What do you think is going to go well?
Okay, so what I'm excited about, well, first of all, what I'm not excited about. I'm in my podcast studio / laundry room right now.
Right.
And I don't have a thermometer, but I'm going to say it's at least 80 degrees in here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and not a comfy 80 degrees.
No. It's
stuffy, gross, humid 80 degrees.
Yeah. And we've been here roughly an hour. So I'm 7 hours in here is probably going to be, I'm going to have to make some preparations. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Ice packs, and stuff like that.
Housework you're doing, just set up a air filtration system, put in some vents. You could do that in 10 days.
Yeah. I literally was up in my attic the other day because my son heard a varmint up there, and,
a rack and frackin' varmint?
Yeah, it could have been,
Go back to Looney Tunes.
So I went up there. I couldn't find the varmint, and I put out some varmint poison, and no varmint has eaten it. But I was looking, I'm like, okay, where is the actual, how could I change the size? I know a little bit about HVAC. How hard would it be for me to run a new line to that vent? And it is the most inaccessible.
You're in the Fort Knox of your house.
Right. To get to that part and to change that out and to run it all the way back and connect it, it would be a major undertaking. And I'd probably sweat 5 times as much doing that in the attic as I would during Edupodlooza. So that's the part I'm not excited about. But I'm really excited about the tightrope aspect of it.
The what?
The tightrope aspect of it. The live without a net.
You're excited about that?
I am. I'm excited about the streaming aspect and that there's going to be things are going to be going wrong and us figuring it out and laughing about it and then having to rework it
oh yeah, because I'm going to be heckling it the entire time.
Right. But the cool part of that is, and the thing that I'm really excited about that also is that all the people that are going to be on it, 80% of them have already been on the show. So
right.
Tudisco knows them kind of well from having spent an hour or longer with them. I'm in a group DM with them on Twitter and have been talking to them at least a couple times a week for the past 6 months. So it's going to have a family reunion atmosphere because some of them know each other well and have been on each other's podcasts. A lot of them have been on our podcast. Some of them haven't seen each other in a while, but they know each other from the DM. And so I think it's going to be a really cool, the vibe of just people enjoying each other's company. And so I really like that aspect of it.
So Mealey, for the listeners then, which podcasts are you uniting?
Okay.
In Edupodlooza?
So let's see if I can not leave anybody out.
Oh, we're definitely going to leave some out.
No, do I have the stinking doc open? Okay, there we go.
Get the stinking doc open.
Yes. So Aviva from Less Impossible.
Off to a good start.
Batsheva from Overthrowing Education. Brad, who I have yet to meet. Brad Scheffler from, his thing is called Planning Period. Charles from The Counter Narrative, who we're going to be meeting on Saturday. Gerardo from Two Dope Teachers, who is like our brother from another mother, for real.
Love him.
Mike from Schoolish, who we've both been on each other's podcast and had a lot of laughs and good time with him. Natalie Vardabasso, maybe I'm saying that wrong, from EduCrush.
No, you said it right, because I remember she said it's far. If you switch the B and the D, it's far badasso.
Okay, cool. Ryan Tibbins from ClassCast. Sam, who teaches teachers how to be a teacher, from EduMagic. Mm-hmm. Sandrine from Step Into Mondays, who I have yet to meet in person, and hers is like world language based. I believe she teaches French, and her podcast is a lot about world languages. Toria from Tiny Voices, who we guested on her podcast, and she came on ours a while back, and we love her. And then Tracy from Intelligy, something, Intelligy, I don't know, who I have not met in person either, but have had some good interactions with on Twitter. And then you and me. And then Lanny is going to be like kind of like our man behind the scenes producer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I don't think it's going to go well, but I think we're going to have fun.
Yeah. I think it's going to go well enough. You know what I mean?
It doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah, right. Imagine this. You said, we're going to get 10 people and we're all going to meet at the beach in Hawaii, Tudisco, for a luau, but no one's allowed to tell anyone what food they're bringing and who's bringing what or not bringing stuff. And the GPS only gets you to within a mile of where we're all supposed to meet. Okay. Is it going to be fun? Of course. Are people going to bring food that's going to be delicious? Yes, they will. Are you going to be on the beach in Hawaii? That's going to be awesome no matter what. Will some people get lost? Will some people have a hard time finding each other? Will there be confusion and chaos? Yes, there will be, but at the end of the day, when you hug and say goodbye, you'd be like, that was fun. Let's do that again. Like that's my, that's what I think will be the end result. So if that happens, then it's a win.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel the same way about, I'm going to run a game.
Yes. No,
but it'll be fun.
Yeah. Because no one's going to know how to play the game until we start playing, except for you.
Yeah. It's literally a board game I invent.
Yes. It's kind of like Cones of Dunshire and Dungeons and Dragons, right?
No. But sure. But no. But sure.
No? Do we get to choose our characters?
Yes.
Okay. So if I want to be a science teacher, can I be a science teacher?
Yes.
If I want to be
you get to choose your subject.
Okay.
And you get to choose your teacher type.
Okay. And what are the teacher types?
So the teacher types, there's the teacher who's nearing retirement.
Okay.
There's the first year teacher.
Okay.
There's the over involved PTA a super teacher.
Okay.
There's the cool teacher.
Okay.
And then there's the coach.
Okay. So it's basically the our audio drama.
Yeah. So those are the different teacher types, and then you also have your different sub.
Okay.
English, social studies, science, math, or art. And
then can I have powers?
They all come with special abilities.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. Okay. So yeah.
Is you have to get through the school year together as a team and use your abilities to help out your team and keep everybody sane.
Okay. So it's more chronological than finding our way. It's not like you don't come and go, okay, there's pie in the cafeteria and you guys are in the basement and you've got to get past these students and these mean janitors and these admins that are like the admin would be the big boss that you have to get by.
So here's what I've done with it. I know
that could be a game though, couldn't it?
Yeah. So here's what I've done with it. I've left it up to the players how much role playing they want to do. They have the option to role play at every scenario. So a scenario comes up and you could say, you know what, as my teacher, here's what I'm going to do. You can take it and go with it. Or you can just go with what's on the card if you're uncomfortable doing it.
And I assume you do own lots of multi-sided dice.
Me personally? Oh,
yes.
Tons.
Okay.
I have roughly one Scrooge McDuck. I could dive into the silo right now.
Nice. Have you made any yourself?
No.
No?
Do people make dice? Actually, I do have a friend who made dice in a metal shopping.
Of course he did. Right, yes.
Of course.
But you've colored them, though, right?
Have I colored my dice?
Yeah.
No, they already got colored.
Oh. Back when I played Dungeons and Dragons a long, long time ago.
You played Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, in the I guess it was technically the 80s. Yes. Yeah,
wow,
for a real small short period of time.
Edition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the red, you know.
That's how I started. I still have those books.
Yes. But you got yellow dice. They were yellow, and then you took crayons because they weren't colored in, and you could take crayons and rub them and have them and make the numbers different colors when you with crayons.
That's smart.
Yeah. I don't know.
Should I hit stop, by the way?
Sure. Well, we'll tell people to stay unprofessional.
Oh yeah, stay unprofessional. Okay. And Edupodlooza, June 27th. Don't forget.